Alrighty guys, let's take a look at in this video today. On the memory and the chip stock side, we do have a red candle. Now, is this a red candle to be worried about, or is this just part of a pullback and we still have a bottom confirmation across the memory stocks? That was Micron, this is Sandisk. We'll take a look at all of that, AMD, NVIDIA, you name it, everything, full coverage right here. With that, hit the like and subscribe. And also, I want to let you know, none of this is any financial advice, only for education purposes, just sharing my opinion. Please do your own thing. So let's get to first right away to Kospi. Now, I did a video last evening as well on this thing, and I talked about how we are gaining a bullish strength structure after holding a support at a zone. Now, this was a break. We were looking for a confirmation 6,000 above that Kospi gave us yesterday. So did SK Hynix, right? It did almost about to just gain that overall strength structure right from 1,700,000, and Samsung already did that yesterday from its zone of structural change, that is 243,500. Already did that, all good. However, we didn't see that follow through on the US side of the things. Now, as you can see, we are selling off on pretty much all the memory stocks right now, a red day. However, let's talk about the price action from where we are. Now, we did go all the way to the almost close to the next zone on Micron from where we are giving up today. However, we gapped up and went just straight up yesterday, right? That warranted. These type of pullbacks are okay as long as we see a zone hold. And as of right now, even though I'm not seeing a zone hold, that is 830, unfortunately we are losing that again, excuse me, right? We still have a room to make this a bottom here. Now, this is what it comes down to from today itself and starting the next week, is you want to see this thing stabilize here, okay? Now, one red day after a move of such magnitude is not too much to be worried about. And even if Micron comes down, let's say if it continues to fall, I do believe it will stabilize eventually. I don't think that this thing just gonna continue to collapse into decimation eventually. We did see a turnaround possibility yesterday. Now we want to see a confirmation of that turnaround possibility that we saw yesterday. And so for that, we have to see a hold here at the zone. Yes, unfortunately right now we are a little bit in the weakness below 892, but we want to hold today this zone 830 around, okay? And if we lose 830, unfortunately we're going to slip lower for sure, right? Which may test again 739, which I would not suggest then that you remain super bullish. Give it a day or two and you want to see a stabilization in this zone. As long as we see that, all good, and accordingly manage the position. Sandisk also, it was though weaker than Micron already, and I did emphasize this yesterday that it's a bounce right now. These are rebounds. We want to see a couple of days of now price action here to give us a potential stabilization. Now, Sandisk was already quite negative, and even yesterday its bounce was still just a part of a rebound. Now today is technically giving that direction overall precedence to the downside. However, I don't think, well, at least just my opinion right now, that it will make a new low. I don't think that's going to happen. Similarly, just like on Micron, I don't think that's going to happen. These rebounds were great yesterday. Eventually, yes, the bottom doesn't confirm in one candle. Now we want to see a stabilization. Now, better if we don't lose a 1130 area on Sandisk. That's something I want to see it continue to hold. And I do think it's just approaching its bottom pretty much in the near term on Sandisk, but we'll see. SK Hynix also a little bit slowing down here. Again, same thing. You gotta let it just do its little bit of a pullback, and that's where we want to hold. Now, the zone that I don't want to see it lose is definitely don't want to see 125 lose, 124 lose, don't want to see that. For this pullback until here, we want to hold 137. Until here, pullback is fine. Below that, not so much. Let me mark this zone on Sandisk as well. This is the zone until here, pullback is fine. And on Micron also, let me mark. Technically, this yellow zone is where itself I want to see it hold on Micron. I don't want to give it more leeway to the downside because you gotta risk manage right in this zone if it starts to lose. But if you like, you know, why not? So well, this is the zone, 780. Okay, so this is where until where pullbacks are fine. Below these are there where the problems would be. Seagate remains still, excuse me, relatively stronger. Even though red candles on this thing, but it is still relatively stronger. Now, this is what most likely would happen on Seagate is that even if it doesn't make new highs, it can most likely just go sideways. You have seen Nvidia's price action, right? So it can go sideways here. So Marvel. So Marvel is bouncing today, but it's just a bounce on this thing. It's not like it's super bearish here now. Oh, sorry, it's not super bullish, but it most likely it may start to, you know, stabilize here and slow down. At least it has found its, you know, room to slow down, and as if it stabilizes in coming days, it can also possibly make a run up, but it's too early for that right now. Nvidia, as I have been telling you that Nvidia, I'm still not really like bullish on this thing, super bullish. This thing is still weak and excuse me, it's still in the multi-day weakness. It's just a bounce on this thing. It's not like momentum wise to the upside. It's not, right? AMD right now a little bit close, staying below $500 still. Now AMD would be more defined by its earnings at this point. Don't expect much upside before earnings. Don't expect at this point much downside. Earnings would define. Until then it may remain choppy here or something. 500 below overall is still negative, but it's a strong above 459 already. In a way, I explained you this very all stuff yesterday that AMD is much stronger and short has to be get out at 459, the max, right? And at this point earnings would define, but until there I don't expect it to do much. I don't expect to see much upside, and I don't expect to see much downside either. It's gonna mostly hover around here until earnings. ARM. So ARM did actually almost try to come back yesterday, but it's still struggling. It's still red, still bearish structure. Nothing changes on this thing. It's still negative, and that's pretty much remains the case. TSM did push from again 387 all the way to 418. However, it also has a room to stabilize here and or go sideways eventually. But I don't think it has a much more room to the downside from here. Again, just like Micron, Sandisk, give it this 387. If we come down here and we hold, we are fine technically on TSM. Downside, I think on TSM is, at least for right now, is over. All right, on Intel, I already told you until $100, it is still technically overall negative. We are seeing a sell-off right there. It is still negative, guys. Intel is not that strengthful as some of them others are. Intel is still in the negative direction here for us, okay? Alrighty, guys, well, that's all I had for you in this video. So today's pullback is more right now, has a room to eventually stabilize. I gave you some zones until where these pullbacks would be fine. This is the normal price action to eventually form a potential bottom. But we want to see these zones hold. That's the important part. But I still don't think there is much downside eventually left on these ones, memory stocks. I do think the downside is getting completed here. Anyways, guys, that's all I had for you in this video. And with that, I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to check out my DRAM portfolio details in the description of this video. All right, guys, take care. Bye.